Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan. His heart don't pump no Kool-Aid Sadiq, and it is a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Southern California. And we are going to be talking about freedom fighting, if you will, in addition to a whole host of other things. I'd like to say hello to those on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. The more the merrier, right? Also, hello to you guys on the podcast, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbeam, and whatever else we're doing out there. And always to the Ride or Die audience on Facebook, because without you guys, we could not have this conversation. I also like to say a big shout out to Marcus Guyton for doing all he does and spreading the message so that it goes farther and farther and farther. So, did I say thank you to you as well? I don't need to. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you to Donovan, as always, for everything that he does. And so, anyway, I want to go ahead and get started. So I just want to let you guys know we're going to be talking about freedom fighters. And I guess we need to have a conversation about Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden in comparison to Kamala, because I made a post asking why does Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders get a pass with black people when we found out the shenanigans and stuff that Kamala was up to. We dropped her like a hot potato. But we're still riding for Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. And a lot of people were wanting to know, well, what did Bernie Sanders do? Well, you know, Bernie Sanders is for the people. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to have this conversation as best I can. And I got my ride or die with me here because Donovan, like, I know politics, but he knows politics. So I'm going to bring in the heavy hitter to help me answer some of these questions. So anyway, I'll go ahead and get started. So as always, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote black love, knowledge, and understanding of all the things that go on in the black community to make us an even better people. Now, the topic that I have here is freedom fighters. Don't get weary in well-doing. Now, this scripture is actually a scripture. Those of you guys, a lot of you guys know I don't go to church, but this scripture, for whatever reason, came to mind from Galatians 6 and 9. Let us not get weary in well-doing. And so I'll go ahead and get started. So last week, and I talked about this to you guys a little bit on last show, but last week I got really down and depressed after the show.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
I was so depressed, I didn't want to continue doing the show or anything dealing with trying to reach black people anymore. I'm just keeping it real, being honest. Hey, Jonelle, as most people would say, right? Now, I felt like that what I was doing was in vain because I felt like overall, black people don't want to do and be better. I mean, I'm just being very transparent with you guys on how I was feeling. I just felt like we don't want to do better. We don't want better. We don't want to do better. And I'm not talking about all black people. I'm talking about us as a collective, right? And so, just for a second, I tried to get in the mind of, and this is for educational purpose, everybody, a coon, if you will, right? Or a Sambo, to understand why they champion for the agenda of white supremacy. Now, let me be clear. I'm not doing what I'm doing for a check. My finances are already taken care of, okay? But I understood just for a hot second as to why people take the easy road of helping themselves first or instead of helping black people as the collective. Now, after having a long talk with my man and my daughter, which is surprising because my man, he could have took the Hail Mary and be like, yeah, drop all this stuff, come on, let's go. But he didn't. He, stood up and said, nah, you tripping, So after I talked to my daughter and my man, I realized that I must keep going. Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and Martin Luther King, just to name a few. Not that I even consider myself, wow, not that I even consider myself on the same level as them. I'm not saying I am amongst them. Please don't mistake me for saying that. I'm not saying that. I also thought about some of the things that the aforementioned said. All right, now, Marcus Garvey, let me see, I think I missed something. No, I didn't. No, I did miss something. Okay, so let me go back. I also realized that I have no right to tap out of something that has literally taken the lives physically and mentally of the people that I just mentioned, right? Now, as again, I'm not considering myself one of them. Marcus Garvey said that there are some Negroes that are no good here, and there's no doubt they'll be no good over in Africa, when he was trying to get black people to leave America and to go to Africa through the United Negro Improvement Association, right? He also said, those who desire to serve the Negro people must be prepared for criticism from his own race. My father always quotes the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as saying, it is easier to put pants on an elephant than it is to change the minds of black people regarding how we see ourselves and how we see the ways of the white man. Like, we're just, white man's ice is colder than ours, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to change our mind in regards to a lot of things. Martin Luther King said, there are many Negroes who will never fight for freedom, but they will gladly accept it when it comes. The point being, many black people will never bust a grape. When I think about all the hell that I go through from my own people, I fight for you every day of my life. My life is on the line, and a bunch of silly Negroes want to go and fight me. Why don't you go and fight the enemy? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that, right? Now, last but not least, why are these people calling me on, it's stupid. I get people calling me on Messenger for some reason.
And that's a way for them to block the
It's
show
crazy.
and the message.
Right, and he's calling me again. See that? I got to block this Negro. Sorry, you guys. Last but not least, Malcolm X said, you have to be very careful of introducing the truth to the black man who has never previously heard the truth about himself. The black brother is so brainwashed that he may reject the truth when he hears it. You have to drop a little bit on him at a time and wait for a while and let that sink in before advancing to the next step. So, I said all of that to say, those people who knew the job was dangerous physically and mentally kept going anyway, regardless and in spite of. And what I'm saying is, even though we get weary from time to time, it is worth it because we love black people. Now, I want to talk to you guys. I don't really have a question with that. I guess I was kind of like wanting to, inspire myself and inspire a lot of other people, because a lot of times, and as I said this, I love doing this every Sunday. Like, I don't have a life outside of doing this every Sunday, you guys. This is what I do.
Not until she gets to Houston.
No, but even when I leave here, I will continue to do it. And even before I started to do this show, it was just who I am and who I was. Trying to educating myself and trying to educate people who don't know and this, that, and the other. So I will continue to do this, but I just wanted to tell you guys, I know a lot of you guys on here consider yourself freedom fighters, if you will, fighting for the minds and the liberation of black people. And a lot of times it does get tiring. It's like, gosh, what is the point to doing all of this? It's just like...
Or I could be doing something better with my...
Yeah. On Sunday I could be at Venice Beach like I used to be, hanging out, chilling in a drum circle, getting the contact high from weed. I don't smoke.
Right. And going down that path of least resistance, that the road is wide to hell like everybody else, and just going with the flow.
Right. But I, choose not to do that. And again, I don't want you guys to think, well, who does she think she is? She's nowhere not like any of those people, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. I'm not saying that I am, but what I was saying is I have no right to say, oh, I'm tired. Those people, a lot of those people's lives, very lives, were taken from them.
Yes.
In vain.
And they were tired.
And they were tired. A lot of their lives was taken from them in vain. I say in vain because look where we are all these years, especially if you think about somebody like Malcolm X, who's done the work and put the information forward, and there's nothing to show for. We as black people are still struggling mentally within ourselves, financially, in a whole nine. So I have no right to say, oh, it's too much. A lot of them died with not a penny in their pocket, with their people fighting for their reputation even afterwards. And so I just wanted to impress upon you guys. I know this is hard, especially, like Marcus Garvey said, Marcus Garvey was a very wise man, and he knew the things that he was doing was costly, and he knew the things that he was doing, the most opposition he was going to have was going to come from black people. He knew that, but he said...
And we knew that when we did this show.
And he said, but I don't care. I'm interested in liberating black people because the bigger task at hand is to get away from white supremacy and oppression. He knew that. He even said, even when he got in trouble, per se, when he went to prison, he being Marcus Garvey, went to prison for 5 years, he said, the white man didn't necessarily do this to me. He said, it was my people who did this to me. He said it was jealousy and envy and, a bunch of low self-esteem Negroes that didn't like what I was doing was happy to take up the mantle to help destroy me and what I was doing. And so he says, because I expected that from the oppressor, to try to do away with me and the movement. But, you know, the blame is not on anybody but black people. And so even though we, and I say we, go through those things, we cannot give up. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. And let me get to you guys' comments. Donovan, you have anything to say? For those of you guys who are in the watch party, yes, please come on this side, on my page specifically, to comment so that I can see your comments, because I can't see your comments in the watch parties. But if you come over here, I can see your comments. And so let's see. Make sure I miss any comments. And Jonelle says, peace to Donovan and fam. What's up? And Mickey, what's going on? And so Cindy says, hey, fam. Do you have anything?
Well, I'm going to have to agree with that. And trust me, it does get weird because a lot of stuff is thrown in front of you to slow the show down or slow your message down. And, I mean, that's just, to me, that's a historical thing that happens because it's the same pattern every time. Malcolm X, you know, everybody's getting weary because you're feeling, you know, sometimes you just feel you do all this stuff and yet, yeah, a lot of people do get it, but the majority just won't get it.
And, you know, like, I'm one of those people, I'm not always right. I know it's hard to believe. I'm not always right, and I don't have a problem saying I'm wrong. But what I try to do is when I get before you guys or anybody else, I try to be right and do a little research on what I'm saying. But it does get frustrating sometimes, and I get it. Everybody's not going to agree with you, and they're not supposed to agree with you, because that's what makes the world go round.
But it would be nice if you would rebut with facts of your own.
Yeah, you know.
Rather than the ignorant.
Right. You know, and we're going to talk about Bernie Sanders a little bit, too. And I'll just use this as an example, and I'll get to your comment, Donald. You know, like I made a post about, you know, asking why black people are still riding for Bernie Sanders, and people was like, enlighten me. Tell me why I shouldn't. But I'm like, okay, but if you're enlightened about Bernie Sanders, you should already know those things. Like, why is what I'm saying to you enlightenment? But even if I were to enlighten you, you still won't believe me. You know? Right. It's easier to believe.
Well, I think it's that phenomena of always wanting to be on the winning team. Everybody wants to be a Dallas Cowboy fan. Everybody wants to be
Do they?
Well, you know what I mean? These winning teams. Everybody wants to be Pittsburgh, whatever. The Lakers. Oh, now it's the Golden State. Now it's the Chicago Bulls. Everybody wants to be a winner. And that's what I think it is, these bandwagon type people, you know. Like I said, you're going to ride or die for what you believe. Like I'm riding and die for black all day long. I have my young nephew today, and we went to a restaurant this morning after we got done camping, and I said, look around you. Mm-hmm. Look who's working in the kitchen. Look who's patronizing this place. Where are we at?
Where's our restaurant?
Yeah, and he said, well, there's one of us over there. So there was three black people in the restaurant. I said, nephew, you can't take three people and say, oh, look, we're all doing well. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, he's young, so he's learning and stuff. But a lot of people, especially us, we think that, well, I'm doing okay. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, too, in regards to Donovan don't have to be doing this either.
Hell to the no. I could be in South Africa right now.
Looking for his wife.
Yes, my queen.
You know? So, you know, he sits here with me, you know, and it's just frustrating sometimes. I'm not saying I'm going to give up, but it is kind of frustrating.
I'm going to tell you guys, true story here. To see Dee in that state, to where she was like done, this woman is like a pit bull. I mean, you know, you never see Dee I've never seen you frustrated like that.
Because I try to remain composed, because I'm, you know, whether you believe in astrology or not, some people do or they don't. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those people, as they say, Aries can go either hot or cold really quick. Okay. But I know that about me, so I try to stay composed. I don't look for trouble. I ain't trying to, you know, be confrontational or get frustrated. So I try to, you know, keep it under wraps. But sometimes it's just like, you know, where's that freaking Bud Light you was drinking the other day?
See? And these are some of the things you got to know.
Right. And so Donna, he says, Dee, keep going. The awesome job that you do, like sitting on the porch, having an intelligent conversation about life and current events. Donovan is your Ed McMahon. But he has great views, too. I like closing my Sunday with good thoughts to carry the next day. You know what? So you are the reason why we do this, Donald. You and everybody else.
No, he's eating butter biscuits. He's trying to be Afrocentric and knows nothing about it. The nigga won't even pick up a book. You know what I mean?
Nah, I ain't believing it.
Okay.
But you're the reason why we do this, because there are people who, like, we couldn't do this at 3 years going.
Right.
You know, if it was all adverse reactions. So I'm not saying that. Overwhelmingly, it is pretty good. But it is some people and some ideologies, and not just here, but just, you know, like Donovan said, just being out in the restaurant in everyday life, you just think like,
just look what's going on, and we're just cool with it. It's like they're slaughtering people, and you're just like, oh well, what can I do?
No, you see them slaughtering people. Well, what did they do?
Right, you know.
They shouldn't have been doing this, and you know, well, it ain't me, because I ain't.
Right, or you know, you see a cop beating a brother down in the street, and everybody just like, oh well, that's what happens.
Right.
You know, they just keep walking. You
Oh
know?
well. So how was your dinner? You know.
Yeah, you know.
Did you not see what I saw?
Or you know, they go back to their not Soweto shack, because that's bad, but where we're getting there in 13 years, we will be where Soweto is now. They go there and they say, wow, my neighborhood's effed up. Why is it like this?
Or it's been gentrified to death.
And yet you still keep voting in
people who help gentrify your area, or you keep contributing by selling grandmama's house, you know, to everybody else, and then your people have nowhere to live. So it's like, you know, we're like you said, it's a perfect example. We're walking into the slaughter, but we're thinking, well, the slaughter is way up the ways for me.
For me.
I'm in the back of the line.
Right.
That's them. That's their problem.
By the time I get up there, hopefully things will change.
But as Martin Luther King said, now Marcus, I know you always take me to task with Martin Luther King, so I'm going to, you know, pay homage to him. As he said, I mean, hell, shit, we know the job is dangerous. You know, there's Negroes who want the freedom, but they don't want anything to get it.
Exactly.
As long as you're taking the bullet.
Exactly. Which goes back to, you got these Negroes out here who live in shacks, like in Soweto, and they say, I can't join the white man's military. But yet, you have no other options to get out of the situation that you are in.
So you won't go fight there, but you won't fight on the, you know, in the community for your people. So
Right.
it's like, what will you do? You know? And then Donald says saints, and he says, drop that knowledge. And you also say Cheddar Bay biscuits. He said, get it right. Okay?
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
It ain't just no ordinary butter biscuits.
Right.
It's Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Okay, gotcha.
And
It's
so,
from Nabisco.
Yeah, and so, you know, that's really what I have for you guys. Don't give up. I know it's sometimes it's hard. It's very discouraging. You know, I think about somebody like Farrakhan, who takes a lot of heat.
Oh man, they just keep coming at
and
that
it's
man.
not even really from white, because that's expected. Like Marcus Garvey said, we expect for, you know, white supremacy, white, you know, people to do what they do to black people. That's just innately who they are, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. You know, and once you really realize that and you accept it.
But then to their
I know
point,
what's going on.
like Farrakhan spent all of his life damn near fighting for the liberation of black people, and he said, y'all fight me harder than anybody.
Exactly.
It'd be nice if you would go out there and fight them as hard as you fight me.
Well, isn't it funny, when I ran for office, how many, I got more Hispanic voters than I got black voters.
Well, yeah, and I was, you know, worked with Donovan as a campaign manager and his PR and all of that. I would see black people say, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Young upstart.
He did, you know, because what it was a developer in the city who's building all these warehouses, depreciating the values of homes and all kinds of stuff. And
using tax dollars to do it.
Yeah, and they're like, well, he bringing in jobs. You a black man. You should be happy somebody bringing in jobs. And he's like, this man is almost bringing in the equation of slavery.
Exactly.
He's just paying you for it, and you're happy with that? Like,
Right.
I'm fighting for the bigger picture for you. This man is not for black people, and he ain't fighting to get you jobs. He's fighting to get Mexicans jobs.
$9 an hour jobs. I'm fighting for $25 an hour jobs. You know, 17 is something you can live in California off of.
Right, and you know, even when, you know, Donovan, when he was first running, especially would go to these forums, the other, like, astute black people or leaders in the city would be mad at him. He had one lady who is no longer in office. Donovan says, hey, nice to meet you. Do you mind if I take a picture? Well, what do you want to take a picture with me for?
Yes.
She was scared to be seen with Donovan because Donovan didn't bite his tongue.
Right. And thus, I helped get her out of office.
Yes, you did. She does not
I
like
bounced,
you to this
I
day.
bounced her out of office, and I also called her out because this lady was the publisher of the second leading black
And the longest, one of the
and
longest running black publications in
the United
America.
States. And
Right.
she sold her soul
To the devil.
for a few dollars, and I exposed that, and I let her know what's going to happen.
Hey, Shay Linda, it says Beyond the Lot, he's still out there fighting, and he wouldn't do it any other way. I think she's talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it's because they don't think they're any better than warehouses. So, yeah. I mean, so, you know, thank you for that, Shay Linda, in regards to Donovan, because it's true. Donovan still is out there, and a lot of times people take Donovan to task. What are you doing? You know, it's like, what are you doing? I've been in it. I've sat on this man's couch when people have called him and said, "Hey,
My light is out.
oh, my roof is leaking." Me and Donovan.
Oh, Lord, I can't remember.
Let me tell y'all a story.
That was something.
Let me tell y'all ready for story?
Story time.
Donovan and I, from being grammatically
Yes.
correct, because I not normally am, went to this black lady. What was she? Puerto Rican black lady, something. I
Yeah,
don't know what she
something. But she identified with us.
She called Donovan because she had called her
The city.
congressperson.
She had called the city, the representatives,
everybody. Repeatedly. This lady had a giant hole in her roof where when we walked in here in her house, she had a bucket because at the time it was rainy season and it was water just pouring in her
We
house.
recorded it, took pictures of it, and everything.
And she says, they won't help me. This dude goes and gets her help and they fix her roof.
No, wait. Well, we go in there, we take a look, we take pictures,
Yes.
right? And I say, okay. I told her this how the system works.
Right.
I said, this is what I'm going to do.
The
And
whole time my mouth is wide open, like,
So-
huh?
How can a human being live like
Yes.
that? And be accepting of it. That was the shocker. She was accepting of it because she had this hole for
A minute. And she had a special needs grandson who was, you know, being affected. I mean, this was in her bedroom.
in her bedroom.
Where she slept.
And so I told her the system. I said, give me a couple of weeks. I will get back to you. I go up to city hall and city council, and I start dropping documents and just saying, I'm going to sue you. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be on the news. We're going to just. I did an Al Sharpton. Come on. No, I didn't do all that.
He was
No, I
basically
undercover.
asking them to hold her landlord accountable for
I went to the city
taking
attorney,
her money and
and
letting
I
her
said,
live that way.
This is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
The city came down and did repair the roof and everything, and
Okay, that ain't it, because, you know, as a good citizen, Donovan did what he was supposed to do. And Shaylin, I'm going to get your comment. He did what he was supposed to do. So now, mind you, Donovan, this is the second time he's running for city council. We go in there. Hey, come on down. This is the city, you know, the debate that Donovan was putting on.
Wait. And that's the thing.
Around the corner.
I put the debate in the area of
Around the corner.
of the despondent residents who felt that their voices were not being heard.
Around the corner. Walking distance around the corner. Yeah,
No
yeah,
excuse.
yeah. All the black, because there's a lot of black people who lived in this development, if you will. Yeah, we gonna be there, brother. Yeah, we gonna be there. Yeah.
I was taking all their concerns.
But on the way to the debate, we saw the black guy who said he was gonna be there, and the lady who he got her roof fixed. Yeah, we on our way. They was coming from the liquor store. We on our way. All right, we'll see you there. Ask us, did they show up? They didn't show up
Didn't show up.
at all. But they cried and complained about the things that was going on. And not only did they probably should not show up to the debate, I bet you they didn't show up to the polls to vote in somebody who was doing the work. And so I know it's hard to, you know, to do stuff for people and them not, like, do what you want.
Well, it's a transaction. I did for you.
I just asked you to walk around the corner to
And
the
pull-
debate.
And wait, come to the debate, and then, you know, since I did for you, pull that ballot for me. Tangible.
The people who are
Tangibles.
it's the same person that was a different person now, but is in charge of the district. Guarantee they ain't doing going around there and doing the work. You weren't even in office.
Yeah. I wasn't even in office, and I got stuff done.
Right. And so Shaylinda says he's not as bad as people think. He's actually the sweetest person, extremely helpful. Yes, Donovan sometimes comes off as an ogre.
Yes, and Shaylinda was running, came into the political arena.
Yes.
She had heard some things about me,
Mm-hmm.
and she was kind of weary. And I said, "Well, come on, Michelle. You know, we'll
Right.
try."
Right.
We've been friends ever since.
Ever since.
Ever
Been
since.
friends
Matter of
ever
fact,
since.
she named her first son after me.
She said you lying.
Yeah, you're lying on that one. But
So anyway, you know, that's really all I want to say to you guys. Just, you know, don't give up. Just dig deep into your reasons, whatever those reasons are, as to why you're doing what you're doing, disseminating the message of black liberation. Because at the end of the day, if all of us ain't free, none of us are free.
Exactly.
And that's a fact. There is no special black people, exceptional black people, or half black people, even though I got a little white in me, or, you know, I'm Filipino and half black, you still black. At the end of the day, if some of us ain't free, none of us free. Plain and simple. And so those of us who care, we have to make sure that we are doing all that we can to, disseminate the message.
And trust me, you guys, it's not just what we do here. You gotta remember, we have family members and outside forces that, that impact us, and so you got, my mom always said this, that it's not outside people that are gonna tear you down. It's your family will do it first, and they don't mean to do it.
Yes, they do.
Some of them do, but in general, they don't necessarily mean to do it, but they figure, well, I didn't know you wanted your rent. It's your house. I mean, I'm your cousin.
But like you said, Mr. Charlie want his rent. You know he want his rent.
No questions.
So anyway, and Donna, your brother says true tangibles. Yeah,
true.
Your brother out there doing work.
Yeah.
Jonelle says the worst kind of crime has been committed against us, for we were robbed of our desire to even want to think and do for ourselves. Quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Absolutely. And you know what? So Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought this. This being the Nation of Islam, where he learned of it when? The
1930s?
The 50s, 30s, 40s?
No, 30s.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
30s.
So for all this time, now obviously he's helped people who are in the...
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
Was it the 30s? It was about 30s,
okay.
Yeah, he was a young man.
Yeah, so he's helped the people who are in the Nation of Islam now, but, he's not here any longer, but the message has been here, and yet we're still confused. And he always hit the nail on the head by saying we need to get right mentally. We need a love of self. We have no knowledge of self, and we need to get that. And until we do, we're always going to be stumbling backwards. Yeah. And, even to this day, we 1930, thank you.
Yeah, 1930s.
So even to this day, we were still just like, what do we do? And it's like, got to free ourselves.
Yeah, I never understood what is the challenge in doing something easy?
Well, that's, my father says the path of least resistance.
Right.
That's what everybody wants. Most people want to be on the path of least resistance.
I always wanted to do something that's going to challenge me, that's hard.
Me too, because I get bored.
Yeah.
Anything else? And Travis, what's happening? Says, thank you, Donovan, and the best of luck.
Go up a little bit.
Oh, sorry, did I miss one?
Mm-hmm.
No, I
got it.
And Travis says, thank you, Donovan, and best of luck in your political career, where he's tapped out for now.
Yeah.
And they've even asked him to run again. They want him to run again, and he's like, listen.
You had your chance. You had your chance.
It says, in your political career, it says, American culture pushes individualism and getting the bag, quote unquote. As we climb the ladder of success, we will get offers to sell out or compromise ourselves, stay strong. Yes. And Travis, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times why you see a lot of people who we've looked to, especially in the Black Power movement, if you will, you're like, wow, their position has really changed. What's going on here? And it's simply because, as Donovan says, they didn't sell out necessarily. They bought in. They bought in, and it's like, you know what? You guys just follow this line of reasoning with me, and it makes sense. Okay, so on one hand, you have, I'm trying to liberate Black people. I'm trying to liberate myself. Mm-hmm. I'm really, doing this, and there's no money. I don't care what nobody says. There's no money in liberating Black people.
There's no money in singing
and
gospel
music. And I'm not saying it should be.
Right.
It's up to you. But I'm saying there's like nobody's really gotten rich off of doing that. Mm-hmm. So then you have the other hand of, all right, so I've been trying to liberate Black people. I'm broke. I can't go get a regular job because all my stuff is on YouTube and everything. And if they look my stuff up, then they're going to be like, yeah, thank you. So then you have this other part like, well, damn, slide me a butter biscuit or two. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll take that check. I'm still act like I'm for Black liberation, but then I'm going to, water it down a little bit.
Well, there were some Black channels that I followed on YouTube, and they're like, oh, Blackness, Black. But then they monetize their channel, and then the white commercial is on there, and you're like, wait a minute, you're railing against the Black capitalist.
Yeah. Or, they'll say stuff like, well, there's nothing wrong with a little cooning. Little cooning ain't ever hurt nobody. Because I get it, though. I'm not saying it's right, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get trying. I'm tired of struggling.
Yeah.
I'm putting up a front, putting it all on the line for people who wouldn't put it on the line for me. So if Uncle Charlie, the
Mr. Charlie,
Uncle
Sarah
offered me a
Ann.
check, I'ma take it.
Right, because you've asked the black people, if you like our channel, please subscribe. I've got PayPal. I've got.
And I don't do any of that.
Right.
Because I don't. That's just not. I don't do any of those type of things.
Right. We could.
Because I'm eating regardless of what I do.
Right, but we could, but we don't.
Right. But the point that I'm making, so I get why people buy in. Hell yeah, I'm gonna do a Diamond and Silk. Jesse Lee Peterson and all these other
your girl
cats.
Candace Owens getting the check.
I always say this about Candace Owens. I do not agree with her at all, but I get it, sister.
She's getting the bills paid.
She's telling white people what they want to hear, and she's getting a check for doing it. Because on the other side of that, y'all can be mad if you want to, if I'm saying this, but on the other side of that, if she was doing the same thing for black people, she'd be broke.
Right.
So I get it, but I get her hustle, but I don't agree with it.
Well, the bad thing of her hustle is just like old girl that was in the White House. In the end, you're going to get yours. Yeah, you're going to get yours.
Omarosa was selling out for checks.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, but so you do see a lot of people just saying, you know what, forget it. Ain't no wealth in black liberation.
I mean, Al Sharpton. I mean, look, they gave him a TV show.
Yeah, Al Sharpton at one point in time was one of the most dangerous dudes out there. But now he's like, wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Elijah Cummings' funeral and sit next to the benefactor.
I'm getting checks, right? And Sydney says we always have that mentality where we don't trust us.
Yeah.
Right, but where do we get that from? We got that from the same people who we shouldn't be trusted. We got that from white supremacy that taught us not to trust our brothers, but you can trust me. Why? You think about it in history, every time we try to help, white people or white supremacy is always come back to bite us. It always has. And Tay says, hey, black people, what's happening?
What up, you little late
what's
girl?
up, Pamela? And Tay says, but how can anyone sleep well knowing they sold their soul?
Some people do.
You know what? Donovan operates in black or white. I operate in the gray.
You're great.
And so I try to understand things from all angles. I'm telling you how they sleep. They sleep because they like, my car payment is due. Every time I hear a tow truck, I'm wondering if they're coming to get my stuff. I'm 10 days behind on my rent. I got a lot of needs that are going on here. And so what's going to help me sleep at night is not wondering if all my stuff is going to be taken because I'm fighting for black people. So here I have this white corporation that wants to sponsor my channel. Now I got to water down my message in order to get this check. So that's how they sleep at night, because shit, I got needs. I got to pay these bills.
At the end of the day, you can't take it with you.
Right.
But a lot of them are also doing the needs because they have children, and they have grandchildren, they want to leave the legacy.
Right. So, I'm going to ask you guys, I could be wrong in my ignorance, but name me anybody. I'm talking about true freedom fighters. I ain't talking about these people who, do it under the skies of black liberation. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about true freedom fighters, black liberation. Name me one of them who have ended up in this game, for one, alive and wealthy. Name me one person who is wealthy because of what they tried to do for black people. Just one. And Jonelle says, we can't expect others to be for us more than we are for ourselves, agreed. Especially our enemies who truly can't afford black unity and black self-love when their everything has been invested in invested in the low moral state and ignorance of, as we as a black nation, they have to invest in the house-minded ones who compromise for the big butter biscuits to their own black demise. Black people are self-love, is self-empowerment and global change, atomic and beyond limitations. So absolutely. There, to your point, no one will ever respect us until we respect ourselves. Period. Point blank. When everybody else sees they can run roughshod over black people, they'll do it because they're like, more than likely, they going to, I hate this, a lot of black people will defend white supremacy before they defend their own people. And so they just know that they can have their way with us, right? And Tay says, we have an issue with nickel and diming our own people for a buck.
Yes.
Question mark. Yes, we do. We do that to each other, and a lot of times when we nickel and dime each other, it's not a great transaction, if you will. It's a take mentality. You know, like I have people all the time say, well, do you make money off of doing what you're doing? No, because that's not where my money comes from. Right. You know?
Aren't you supposed to store your riches in heaven?
Yeah, I get my crown when I get up there and all of that.
And your mansion and your Mercedes and all that.
All that. I'm supposed to get all that when I get there.
Even though you're enduring all this hell down here. When you're dead.
Why not just go jump off in front of a train now?
Right, yeah, why don't you, you know? Yeah. But isn't that logical? Why don't I just kill myself down? So.
But you're right, Taya. We do that to each other. We nickel and dime each other, or we sell each other what they used to say back in the day, snake oil. You know, rub this on you. It's going to make you better. You know, we do that to each other instead of just being real. Like, I feel like what I'm doing, and I'm not saying I'm all that. You know, I'm humble. But what I'm doing, if a couple people listen, and then they take the message disseminated, a couple more people listen, hell, we all going to be wealthy eventually.
Well, Well, the funny thing is I have a friend that's in Africa right now.
Okay.
And they're seeing what we saw. They didn't go to South Africa.
Oh.
I think they went Northern Africa or something like that, or somewhere else.
And they're seeing everything.
They're seeing, and their eye is now open. So.
Right. And Jonelle says they sleep like Stephen and Django. Feeling comfortable.
Who that you with?
Feeling comfortable, included and secure in their false narrative of inclusion. Yeah. And that's a lot of us. Not us, but I'm
in
saying
the house.
Right, exactly. I got to burn the sheets, you know. Yeah, we feel like, hell, it ain't me.
Right.
That's them.
Right, exactly.
But it is all of us, regardless of how we see things or how we feel. It is all of us. Yeah. Right? And Pam says everyone needs to be responsible. Yes. Indeed. And so it is all of us. We are all in, as Martin Luther King said, we are all in the same burning house.
Yes.
The same burning building. Some of us may not be completely in. Some of us may have a 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Some of us are completely in this burning building. But we are all in there to some degree, one way or another.
Yeah. You know, this goes back to what you said on Free Throw Friday. We are 13 years away from zero wealth in the black community.
Annihilation. Financially.
Zero wealth. We should, 13 years isn't far. I mean, I was in high school 30 years ago. 31 years
31
ago.
For you.
31 for me. You said I didn't really good at math. But anyway, 31 years ago. And that seems like yesterday. It's like you said on the show. 13 years.
We was...
Yeah, Cabbage Patching, we were networking.
Just yesterday, yeah.
You know, Roger Rabbiting, everything was great,
Just
right?
yesterday.
Just yesterday. 13 years is not far away. We should be in a panic right now because, like, and I don't know if you guys see the same way as me and Dee. When I'm driving around, sometimes I say, wow, another faux restaurant. Another...
Maxi Foods or Gardenia's grocery store.
Grocery store.
Yeah.
You got the Walmarts, you got the corporations, and I say, well, where's ours? Then when I go into the store and I look at the magazines, I see Asian, I see the Latino people.
Oh, that soda I was drinking the other day. It was in English and Spanish. It's like, well, all right.
You know, and
y'all know crushed soda used to be black people soda.
Nobody bought fruity sodas
Pineapple
more than
Crush.
Right. Cream soda.
Right.
You know, wait, the purple and the yellow.
Yes, and the red.
And the red, right. Well, I said purple, but yeah.
Right,
red.
you know.
But what I'm saying is, I'm looking at everything, and I'm okay, because I work for the federal government. I'm going to have a check until I'm die. So thank God for me. But I'm one of 13% of a population, and we're being annihilated, and we're not even panicked yet. We are not even panicked.
It ain't me.
But yet, I put a meme up, I think 2 weeks ago, and I said, it's funny how we will fight over mom and dad's money and houses after they die, but we won't even fight for who's going to take care of it.
Right.
And that's the same thing now, what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell you guys, be alarmed. This is what's happening to us.
And of course, you guys already know that.
Yeah, you guys already know that. But we should be alarmed.
Right. And for those of you guys who are on the watch parties, come on over to this side to comment, because I can't see your comments in the watch party, but I can see them over here. And Tay says, I have left a lot of black groups and organizations because they are out to make a profit, not truly help our people. If I do something for the community, I'm doing it to help someone out. It's selfishness and greed that drives some people. Absolutely. And I know exactly what Tay is talking about.
So do I.
Because I've seen those
I
groups,
monitor.
and I've left a lot of those groups as well because they're not really trying to help black people. They're trying to help their black ass. That's it. They're trying to help themselves. It's not about black people or black liberations. And to your point, Tay, a lot of times when I'm in those groups, I see a lot of those people quote, white people. This, Tony Robbins and this, that, and the other.
Yes.
I'm like, where's the Dr. Claude Anderson in here? Anybody talking about Farrakhan?
Right, where's the Don Cornelius?
Marcus Garvey? Don Cornelius.
Don Cornelius.
Okay. Ain't nobody talking about these people, but they quoting all these, white gurus and this, that, and the other. And it's like, y'all ain't here for black people. Y'all here to turn a quick buck, and that's fine, but be honest. Don't do it under the rules of black unity and black liberation. Like, I'm cool with you if you keep it real, because everybody got to make money. Just don't lie like you're doing it for black people.
Right. I mean, when I say Don Cornelius, what I'm saying is, what did he do? He started a platform that showcased black people doing their thing.
Right.
Now, of course, he went crazy toward the end because he was on there too long. But I want to tell you about a nice little brother that's on the show today. I'll put y'all hands together for... you know what I mean? He was in school.
Nah, I'm telling you, Donovan's missed his calling. Donovan has missed his calling.
The OJ. But he did it. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right. He did. He created something for us against a lot of odds.
A lot of odds.
Yeah. And Tay says, if we take a page from other communities, take care of those within. We have to take note and take care of those within our community. Absolutely. Like, let's take care of each other first, and then the rest will take care of each other itself. Instead of, as Donovan's terms, I'm a roach off of you first.
Until there's nothing left.
There's nothing left, and then I'm going to
go to the next one.
Shimmy over to the next warm body.
As long as the lights are out and nobody can see me going.
Exactly.
I'm good.
I'm good.
But speaking of Tay, parents are overseas, traveling, living that life that they deserve.
Yes.
Dad worked hard,
Yes.
provided for his kids, got some beautiful daughters out there and grandkids. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Right. Absolutely. And Travis says, it is a responsibility of black liberators to create a venue to fund their own freedom. David Banner has his God Box and other products. Al Sharpton has his radio show and corporate shakedowns, quote unquote.
Right.
Corporate shakedowns. People don't value anything that is free. You know what, Travis, I'm glad you said that. Because my mama, God rest her soul, used to always tell me, don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth. Don't be afraid to ask for your services. Ask for the money. She used to always tell me that,
Yes, Dee
So
has
agree.
asked me time and time again, when am I going to drop off her $50,000 annual check for the work that she does?
No.
And I said, girl, as long as I owe you, you'll never be broke.
Actually what he said was, you can't get blood from a turnip. You know how we do each other.
Yes.
Roaches.
Yes.
Nah, no, seriously though. But so I do get exactly what you said. People don't value it. And my mom used to say that. She says, I don't care. When I would work with people, she says, I don't care if you got to charge them $10. Do it. That way they'll know that is what you're providing is of value. And so I agree with you on that.
Yeah, but here's the sad thing. Again, it goes back to my saying of roaching, which I'm going to copyright, by the way.
Better hurry up.
Yeah, exactly. You went out there and me and you had our thing, and I paid her in full, on time. Deanna's in the back there. So
my daughter, the enforcer. No.
But it's just funny how you go into these things, and I'm glad you brought that up, because then it was like, you're working for me, so okay, well, I'm ready to get paid, and they go, oh, I didn't really think you needed the money.
Oh, you want to get paid?
Yeah, it's like
paid.
But she paid everybody else on the staff.
And I've had conversations.
And I was embarrassed.
Yeah, because I do PR, you guys. And so I've actually had our people. And I try not to get on it. I've had people say, well, do you need the money right now? You're not in the bind, are you?
If I was Mr. Charlie, would we be having this discussion?
Do you got something pressing? You need the money right now? And I'm like, yeah, what's pressing is I did the work, and I want you to press your pen to the check and sign it and pay me what you owe me. That's the only thing you need to be concerned. But I've had people like, huh?
Yeah.
You serious?
And I'm dealing with people right now.
Okay.
Just.
And Jonelle says the future is for those who don't compromise, like Rudy Ray Moore. Oh, you guys gotta watch that movie.
Okay.
Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite, people who fight against the odds to forge others into a better state and position conditions. Names will be eternal. Eternal, like Muhammad Ali, Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah, and somebody got to stand or go against the negatives for our future. Our time is now. We're either going to get down or lay down. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's a good analogy.
Hey, Smoke, I need that Netflix account number.
Yes. That's a good analogy about Dolomite, because most of us know him as playing a, slick talking pimp and
Rudy
all
Ray,
this.
Or more Godfather.
But that man, to Jonelle's point, he demanded, he knew he was going to be something and somebody. He was not going to give up. And not only did he know that, I'm not giving away the movie, he brought everybody else with him. He would see people in their thing and be like, okay, I believe in you. You got a talent. Okay, this is what's going to go on.
Quick trivia, everybody. Real quick trivia. What was the last time Rudy Ray Moore was seen on a show? Please, and it was a very current show. You should know it.
Was it Martin?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Martin.
Yes. Pimp of the Year.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Very good.
Yeah.
Pimp of the Year.
And Arson says Donovan's invitation. I'm telling you, he's missed his calling of Don Cornelius. Yeah, he has missed his calling. And hey, Jim was having says higher education is the key. It builds wealth. There is not true equality in education. No, absolutely, I agree. I'm one of those people who believe in education, regardless if it's secondary college or however you got to get it. YouTube, if you will, because that, as my brother say, is the new university.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. You got to have an educational foundation. Mm-hmm. I just don't agree that you have to take in the fucking debt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So education is a vast term, if you will. Just do something to better yourself, so you can do other things. But no, I absolutely agree with that. Education is the key.
You got to have a foundation to know what you're...
Right. You got to learn how to educate and be educated. I think a lot of times people don't understand that education is a two-way street, And Jonelle, you say, those with heart must stand against the heartless in this time. It is our great responsibility as Black people to raise our people up on all levels and fight against the opposition of those who don't desire our moral elevation on all levels, especially those who fight against our self-improvement. As Black people, we must hunger for our elevation greater than any. Absolutely. It's got, like I said, it's got to be on us. We got to want it more. Like I used to always tell people, I can't want it more than you do. Yeah. I mean, I could try, but it's not gonna work. In any relationship, I tell people, so if you're helping somebody, it shouldn't be a pull. It should be, I'm pushing you, I'm behind you, I'm gonna help you. Now, come on,
right?
You need to be doing this.
Exactly. And I'm getting tired of that because here's a good example. I have a friend. They want to open a business. They say, "Oh, I want to open a business." I said, "Well, do you know if you join the Air Force Reserves or in the military, even in the reserves, the Veterans Administration has a business loan that they'll give you to open your own business."
Right.
I can't do it in the military. Okay, fine. Now, I pulled up this morning to my neighbor who converted part of their garage into a nail shop. I saw 3 cars
getting their nails
done. Getting their nails done. She didn't wait for a business loan. They're not waiting for whatever. They're doing it on the side, whatever, but they're doing what they got to do.
Right.
And making it happen.
They ain't asking permission.
Uncompromised.
Got you. And Tay says, man, I did some work for some. We agreed upon a price and have a contract, and it's a wimpy situation. He would gladly pay me Tuesday for a hamburger today.
I love it.
We got to get out of those type of relationships, people who's like,
but
wow.
see, now look, if I was your man,
all right,
now her money.
Now we're transitioning to the Love Connection edition.
Levi, Who Loves You radio show.
And Pamela says, I used to work at a collection agency, and there were people that did not pay their collection bills. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the club.
Right, exactly. And Reginald says, why don't the education system teach law in urban public schools?
Because then you would know your rights. They don't want you to know your rights. But I'm glad you brought that point up, but that's why. They don't want you to know. Why is it that when most Black people get out of the military, they don't know the benefits they have once they leave? and they go right back into the same
They there,
situation.
but we know you ain't gonna ask,
Right.
so we just ain't gonna
I
tell
happen to know a person who spent their time in the Navy. In the Navy.
And it's
Didn't
like,
know.
word?
Did not know all the benefits that he was entitled to.
Right. So yeah, that's I think that's the short answer. We
Yeah.
don't want these people to know they
Yeah.
got rights.
We don't want you to know that.
You know, but at the end of the day, you know, that's something we can teach ourselves. I mean, it's all on Google. They got law libraries.
Yeah,
YouTube.
well, with 13 years left, we are running out of time to get everybody on message. We're running out of time.
I had a negative thought, but I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Because think of all the people, black people that have been in the military, and all that money that is just sitting on the table. You got black people right now that they have children our age. Some of them are even younger that have kids, and they're like, well, I don't know how I'm going to pay for my kids' schooling. Go to the VA and ask. My son right now is getting $1,000 going to Arkansas State.
On his master's.
On his master's, 21 years old. That wealth that just sits there, federal government money that we just say, I don't need it.
That's too much work.
Too much work to go and do the paperwork and do what you got to do. You got vets right now that are unemployed, right? Just people that serve in the military are unemployed. You have a program called Voc Rehab. They will pay for everything for you to learn a different skill.
Like some money.
And pay you to do it.
Right.
I got to come on, look, they got this program.
It should be a push.
Come over here.
It should be a push relationship.
Right.
And Jonelle says, school, aka education, is in buildings. Buildings is just accreditation, but we are in school right now learning from each other. Yes, we are in God's University 360. As they say,
Yes.
you learn something new. You learn something new every day. Books, libraries is everywhere, and there's something to be learned in all that our eyes behold, especially ourselves on a subject, math, chemistry, etc. All praises due to Allah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like there's education and information everywhere. I tell the young kids now, hell, it ain't like when we had to Watusi our ass to the library and
Get to the index thing and
Oh,
go through it, and then you go there and the book ain't there, or it's put in the wrong spot, and you got to track it
then
down.
you gotta quietly walk up to the librarian who's tired of y'all kids any damn way. And why can't you just look for it? And she gotta walk and find, like, it ain't those type of days no more.
And think about how many Saturdays. I mean, you got up at 9, I got up early to be there at 9 to get out there maybe about 1. I'm spending about 3 or 4 hours of my day.
And to write book reports and
Right.
stuff.
Miss Soul Train for the day.
Okay.
You know?
The horror.
Right.
And hey, Charles, you said
It's
D
cool.
Donovan Group. I say good afternoon, good evening, good
Yes.
afternoon, good evening to you. And again, if you guys are in the watch parties, come on
Come
to
on
my
over.
side, and so I can see your comment because I can't see him over there. And Charlie, what's happening? Says Brother Polite versus Scientology. Brother Polite reveals the fact that the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, saw black people as inferior based on his own words.
He's a
When
racist,
Brother
yeah.
Polite presents these facts in the streets of Harlem to the Scientologists, things heat up and the police get involved. And he put a whole bunch of hashtags. Everyone has to see this video on Facebook.
Yeah. Check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
I'm very familiar with Brother Polite. Brother Polite is one of those people, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but he's kind of flipped over a little bit too. He's flipped over. He was very, and he's in the Beverly Hills living a life, and he wasn't before that I know of. But some of his viewpoints have kind of switched over to like, really?
You used to claim in Compton, but you moved to Riverside.
Yeah, he's gotten pictures with scantily clad white women, and
Hey, you made it.
he bought
Hey,
it.
and I want to tell you guys real quick a good example of what we do when we do open our businesses, or we do try to do the thing right. Now, I went to this breakfast thing this morning. It was the Mexican breakfast thing. But the thing is, they give you these big old portions to make you become a customer. Now, there was a black restaurant, and it was a good idea as a friend of yours, and they gave you these small portions for this exorbitant price.
I didn't eat it because I'm vegan, but I
you're
heard.
vegan.
I heard a lot of people say, yeah.
I mean, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot when it comes to certain things. Our expectations of how good it is. When I went camping last night, there was a guy he was from Rialto, and they had I go camping with a Rambo knife, okay? That's
Lambo out there in the
That's
street.
it. Just doing my thing, right? But they were right next to us and stuff like that. This guy had made some ribs. He had smothered the ribs. He wants to open his own business and stuff. And I talked to him. His wife wants to be in a mortuary or something like that. But
I hope they ain't getting them ribs from the mortuary.
no. I trust me. I checked. Bill was with me, my wonder pup.
Okay.
But this guy's ribs were so good. I said, what's the
secret?
He said,
I have to kill you out here.
right. He said,
kill you out here in nature.
But it was really, really good. So
Nice.
you got a lot of people that have really great ideas, but how do you execute those ideas?
Right. Tell them to hit me up. I help them.
Gotcha.
And let's see. Jonelle says, teach, Donovan. Life is about awareness, not ignorance. Ignorance is not bliss. Learn and take advantage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the information, like you said, you know, it's for veterans and stuff, the information is out there.
It's there.
You know?
I mean, you're talking about billions of dollars that are sitting there.
And let me tell y'all, Donovan takes advantage of every last dime. Okay?
Every
last
they
dime.
see me and they go, oh Lord.
He's coming to get some more money.
They even have a program called Workspace. It ain't a lot of money, but
Okay?
I'm gonna
You
get
know,
that
I ain't trying to get no job.
Right,
What y'all
but
paying?
hey, tax free.
I ain't trying to work like that, but shoot.
I'm gonna look. Here's my staple. That's my job.
Right. Bathrooms are that
Yeah,
way.
that way.
Ladies' rooms are that way.
That's it. 4 hours a day.
Right. Goodbye, everybody.
Exactly.
Is my direct deposit gonna hit on time?
Look, Donovan, your attitude is really bad. Yeah, but you know I got PTSD in my
Right.
record.
I'm getting ready to go see my counselor.
Yes, right
I
now.
leave here.
Mhm. I'm disabled. That's why I'm here.
And Charlie says, no more library and encyclopedia to buy. Google, yeah.
Yeah, Google
So,
it.
with that being said, Charlie, what's the excuse? What's the excuse as to why we can't learn and get information?
Right.
You know? And so, speaking of which, I'm going to transition over to this point. So, I put up a post, and I asked everybody, I said, riddle me this, because I was just thinking about some things. How is it that, follow me here, you guys. How is it that, and Jonelle says, right, Google it. How is it that Kamala, black people, and I said this, dropped her like a hot potato? When we really got aware to the things that she's done to black people that weren't good, the mass incarceration and all that other nonsense that she's done. Kamala is done as far as politics are concerned. It's safe to say she's not going to be the candidate or nominee even for the Democratic president.
What a surprise!
Done, right? So then you have somebody like Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders who have also been adverse to black people. Now, obviously, Joe Biden has been more adversary to black people than Kamala and Bernie Sanders because of the crime bills that he championed and wrote and, you know, all that other stuff in the 80s and the 90s. You guys Google it because we've talked about it a lot here. All right, so people say, well, what has Bernie Sanders done? And so I know a lot of times, like, Bernie Sanders has a lot of celebrities backing him.
Yeah.
He got Killer Mike, T.I., and all these other people who are endorsing Bernie Sanders. Now, on the surface, has Bernie done anything to...
You're damn right I did! I wrote the damn bill!
Have he done anything specifically to black people? I would say no.
I marched with King! Damn it!
Anything else have you done? Have you done?
Well, I'm just
Okay.
Help
If it
him
comes
out.
to mind, you go just let
Hold
us
on.
know.
Okay.
So he hasn't done anything bad, per se, to black people, as Bernie Sanders just said. You know, he's marched with King. He was fighting for civil rights and all that other stuff.
I got my ass arrested for your black asses!
No, he didn't say
Off
that.
the record.
That's
Off the record.
That's his thought.
Got it. So,
But I don't believe in reparations. No.
there you have it. So people ask me, well, what did Bernie Sanders do? He has vehemently said and is not for reparations still. Like, he is totally against reparations for black people.
Hell no, that would make you guys catch up in wealth with us. We can't have that. The system...
But you want our votes?
Oh, absolutely.
You want our votes?
I gotta have the vote. I can't win the Democratic nomination without the black vote.
Got it.
I've gotta have that. But the system is set up so your black asses are at the bottom.
Right. Oh, so are you cool with Jews getting reparations?
Absolutely, yes, we should. Don't forget about the Holocaust and what Hitler did. 6 million of us were.
And have you actually championed bills for Jewish people to get reparations?
You're damn right I did. And matter of fact, there isn't even a sunset clause on it. The bill, they should get it immediately because a lot of the victims are dying right now because they're in their 80s and 90s and they should get their money right now. But your black asses, no, we're going to try to just, hey.
I hope that was clear. You know, because
Thank you, Bernie.
I'm one of those people. I try not to get frustrated because I understand everybody's not really at the same level. Again, I'm not saying that Bernie is a bad dude, but this man has said, I am not for giving black people reparations. And yet, we have all these black people behind him, you know, and is not trying to give you any forms of reparations. Not even acknowledge. I mean, I guess he's probably acknowledged to some degree black people were wrong, but he doesn't see that it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, well, the funny thing, the majority of the black people that are behind them are millennials. So these are people who don't know their history. They haven't done their research.
For example, you guys, Bernie Sanders went to, what is it, Benedict College?
Yes.
It's a historical black college. I guess they had a reform, or a forum rather, on criminal justice reform or something like that. And so he's at this debate forum, whatever it is, and a black male student asked him, what advice can you give me to if I get pulled over by the police? And I'm paraphrasing.
Run!
No, he didn't. Right. But I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much said, respect them, respect the police.
Basically,
what
comply.
Comply, so you don't get shot in the back of the head, right? And so people are rightfully taking him to task, but a lot of people are like, well, what he was saying was, you know, the police are bad. And so I said, now, I don't think you have to be that bright to ascertain what he's saying is, it is on you, black man, to do everything you're in your power to stop this trigger-happy police from shooting you in the back of the head. The job is on you.
Right.
Whether you comply or you don't comply, do everything that you can to be respectful. Hell, even if I get pulled over for having weed in the car, or busted tail light or whatever, that don't warrant me getting shot in the head. And so somebody else said, oh, well, you know, he realizes, he said, what he's saying is he realizes they're bad, there's some bad cops out there. So then to that point, ain't nothing anybody can do to diffuse that situation.
Yeah, well, I don't believe that, well, I can kind of agree with that, with him saying that they believe that's what he knows.
What he's actually saying is, there are no rights in the United States that a white man is duly allowed to respect.
That's basically what he's saying. That's basically what he's saying. They're not going to respect you. Hey, you're on your own. I agree with it too, so.
Yeah, do your best to not get shot in the back of the head. Yeah. And I say this as well. I don't give Bernie Sanders a pass. Mm-hmm. You know, what he meant was, no, forget all that, because he knew he was going to a historically black college to talk about criminal justice reform and all of that, and he wasn't prepared to answer something like that.
Mm-hmm. That question, exactly.
What he meant to say was, no, he said what he said, and they said, in fact, because I didn't see the video, but I read about it, that he stumbled even answering the question, and then that's what he came out with.
Well, he's a born a genius. He's just a genius.
Is that what it is? And then he tried to clean it up by saying, you know, that I guess, you know, the police are responsible, but it's like, dude, didn't you just get taken to task a couple of years back by Black Lives Matter when they used to jump on the stage and take over your forums and, you know, ask what you're going to do for black people, police brutality, and you still fumbling that question?
A lot of the black support that Bernie gets is from millennials who do not and have not done the research on, you know, this man's stance and what he's going to do. The millennials do not understand socialism. They do not understand, they're from a generation where grandma, they don't know what it is to have government cheese. When we make those jokes,
man,
they don't know what it is to drink Kool-Aid. They don't know what it is to open a refrigerator.
Powdered milk spam and all of that.
They have no clue of that. So, because like I said, we come from a generation where our parents took care of us. It wasn't our grandparents.
Right.
Yeah, you had an aunt, you had extended family.
You had a spam and government cheese sandwich a lot, but
right. But these kids think that everything should be given. Everything should be free. Free education. Free. Well, if everything is free, then why strive for anything? Why should there be different?
And I agree that everything shouldn't be free, but I also think that just like you helping those at the top, you should help those at the bottom.
Absolutely.
For the ones who are actually making the ones at the top lifestyle possible.
Right. Like I said, every time I go to Winco, I get upset when I see a working young man, you know, not working, but I guess a healthy thing to me. I don't know. It just makes me upset when I see somebody with the EBT card and they got a grocery full of $800 worth of whatever.
You got your hand basket.
Yeah, and I got a little basket.
And a tomato.
Right, I got a little basket. I'd like to have a couple of steaks every now and then, but I can't because I make too much money, and it's just to me the system doesn't make sense. If you got a job and you need maybe $100, they should give you $100. Not I have no job. Let me give you $800.
Right.
So.
And Charlie says Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont for dismissing the idea of cutting a check for the descendants of slaves, giving his support for expansive government programs. So to his point, he want to do all these other things, but you gonna write a check for black people who are, suffered the most horrible conditions ever known to man here in America?
Oh, yeah.
But you want black people to vote for you?
Yes, but you got to get over it.
All right. And Jonell says, he's laughing, but that's the point. None of them have to do anything but give a show and a wiggle or a giggle or a dance and play a sax to get our votes and likes of embrace Big Mike like a pet. All of these, they said all of these candidates do the same and discard us accordingly after we go for the okie doke minus the popcorn.
Right.
Damn, Jonell, we don't even get no popcorn.
Damn. Have you guys heard the rumor that Hillary Clinton is still
Thinking about it.
fringing
I
on
read it,
running because we know Joe is a fader, which we were one of the first to say it on this show. Joe Biden is running for president for the third time. He is a serial fader. So he isn't going to get it. So
Hillary's like, hold my beer.
Right.
Let me get in here.
But then you think about it, but isn't that crazy? You lost! And you think that you're going to jump in again and win?
She was cheated.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what
The electric, okay. Yeah.
And Jonell says, clearly old Bernie feels he can say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know who's defended him is black people. What he went to say was.
Right. Right. You got your...
Bernie is 132 years old.
Right.
He's been in politics his whole life. And you get up at a historical black college and flub that question?
Exactly. Haven't you...
Try not to get shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to bob and weave?
Haven't you not watched the Kamala Harris campaign and had people on your staff to kind of monitor what other campaigns are slipping and dosing? Kamala Harris's campaign's biggest problem is she hired Hillary people.
And she's a liar.
Well, yeah, that's
and
it.
she won't own up to the stuff
Right.
she did.
Right.
You know, and
Exactly.
she wasn't at the forum because she said, because they gave an award to Trump or something.
The
It's
day
like,
before.
girl, you didn't go to the forum because you know they was going to eat your lunch.
Yes, they were going to eat your lunch.
That's why
Exactly.
you didn't go.
Exactly.
Nice try, though. And Charlie says, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont said, do what the police ask you to do, not to get shot in the back of the head. Yeah, you know, but we want to try to read between the lines and explain what this good white man said to this black boy, or student, I should say, who's asking you as a white man for the best advice to avoid him getting in, in an adversarial situation to police. And you say, well, hell, dude, be respectful and do your best not to get shot in the head.
Basically, all he says is comply. That's all that they want you to do is comply. But as we are finding out, the police have basically taken their sheets and turned them in for badges.
Right, and Jim says that's the same answer a parent would give a son or
Yeah.
a daughter.
Yeah, in our community. Very, very true. Very true.
Well, do your best to
Comply.
be respectful. Okay, well, let me ask y'all this. If anybody else hasn't already said that. Philando Castile.
Right.
To name a few. I mean, that's just one of many.
Well, come on, Castile. What's his name? Gene? Botham Gene.
But yeah, he's in his
He
Bobby John. He's in
cornflakes.
his house.
In his house. Just got murdered. And then the other girl recently in Houston.
Yes.
She got murdered.
So how are we putting the responsibility on somebody to make sure you don't get shot in the head down? It ain't like I'm wielding a gun at you.
Mhm.
I'm getting pulled over
I'm
or
the
whatever.
tax-paying citizen.
And I gotta worry about you shoot me in the head because I got a busted tail light or something.
Right.
Why is that? Why is the onus on me? To me, I think it's common sense to comply. But even if I don't comply, does that warrant me getting shot in the back of the head? I'm saying if I can see if I'm reaching for your gun or I'm doing something crazy. But if I'm saying, hey, bring your sergeant on the scene, tell me why you're stopping me.
See,
if I do that, does that mean I need to be shot in my head?
See, now me and Dee get in a lot of arguments about that. Now, here's what I say. If I was the president or if I was the governor of a state or an institution, there is no need for police officers to have handguns on them. That would alleviate a lot of police shootings, and it would also disarm the police from having an aggressive posture toward the people they're supposed to protect. However, the police should have shotguns in their car. And the only time you should be able to pull that shotgun out is when you know you're going into a situation to where it's going to be.
Did y'all see the video of I can't remember where it is. I think it's out here, maybe somewhere. I could be wrong. Of the boy, I think he was a Hispanic. I'm not for sure exactly who he was. Anyway, he gets pulled over by the police. He jumps out and he runs. He hops over the fence. And it said that because the officer was out of shape and couldn't hop over the fence, he pulls his gun out and nails the dude is behind the fence running and shoots him in the back of the head and kills him right on the spot.
Ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying. We should adopt a Mayberry type policing situation. Andy Griffith in the show, I know it's a hypothetical show.
Right.
He didn't need to. He used to give Barney one bullet and put it in the pocket. And that bullet was only supposed to be loaded when they were going into a situation to where he needed to have some kind of one bullet.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Because the thing is, the people are supposed to respect the authority of that badge. That's all you need. And if they don't, you go to your patrol car, you get your rifle.
Right.
Now you're going to handle some business.
Right.
I honestly believe, I'm not saying disarm the police. I'm saying they should not be allowed to have handguns because it's obvious that they are irresponsible.
And they got it out for a lot of people. And again, if you guys are in the watch party, come on to my page so I can see your comment. And Arson says, great imitation is laughing once again, but sadly it's true. So do T.I. and Killer Mike know Bernie isn't for reparations because choosing the lesser of two evils, knowing we have nothing specific coming our way isn't any better than at all. I think we as a community better get selfish.
Yes.
Absolutely. I would imagine that they know. But you know, Killer Mike and T.I. got their piece of pie.
They got their money.
Yeah,
and when you're talking about being selfish, that's exactly what Dee was talking about on the show Friday. That's why we support Andrew Yang. Something is better than nothing. While I'm waiting for reparations, give me that $1,000.
And the thing with Andrew Yang, too, is he is addressing the ills in the black community specifically. This dude has done the math. Right. He has said, do you black people know, and I'm paraphrasing, he didn't say you black people, but I'm saying that. Do you black people know, to Donovan's earlier point, in year 2032, your wealth is going to be zero. And so in order to combat that, for one, let me help give you $1,000 a month, for every year, $12,000 a year, so that you can close the wealth gap. Do you know a lot of jobs that you guys have are leaving, specifically truck driving jobs?
Of jobs,
they're leaving.
Robotics.
Your wealth is already $15,000 on average per black household. And that's not everybody's household. I'm just saying on average. Compared to that of $170,000 for
on
white
average
people.
On average for white people.
So he's addressing those things in addition to talking about helping HBCUs and a whole bunch of other stuff for black people.
But wait a minute, Dee. If everybody's getting $1,000, how does that help the wealth gap in between?
Because, this is how I look at it this way. That's a great question. Mm-hmm. So whether we get the $1,000 a month and we get reparations, it's not going to help us at all if we don't, like Arson said, get selfish and stop spending our money with everybody else. So we got to fix that too. Jonelle always makes a good point is when you love something, you protect it.
Yes.
Self-love for the win. We are going to have to participate in that. Otherwise, we are just going to be right in the same situation, giving the money away.
Right, but if white people who are making $170,000, they're getting $1,000 too. How does that shrink the wealth gap?
Well, it's a start. Because a lot of us...
Technically your answer is it doesn't. It
doesn't, but it's a start. It helps us do... So if I'm doing all right and you're doing all right, we can take that $1,000 and say, let's start building a business.
Right.
Let's build something small that we need in our community, and then we can hire 1 or 2 black people, and then hopefully with their $1,000, they'll start some businesses or start shopping here with us, and then we grow.
Right. Or look at it like this: you guys that are listening at home, poverty level, let's say it's about $15,000. I believe that's the poverty level, national poverty level. So if we're already at $15,000, me and Dee, we have 2 children. That's $4,000 a year.
If they're 18 and over.
Yeah. That's $4,000 a year. I think it's I think it's from the time they're born. He wants to do like the Alaska thing.
No, it's 18 to 8. I think it's 18 to 65.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we could get them to do like the Alaska thing when the minute you're a citizen.
But even if it's just us, that's 30.
That's $24,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry, $24,000.
That's $24,000
that we didn't get before.
So that lifts us off of the poverty line and makes a difference in our lives.
Right. And Tay says if Hillary don't go sit her ass down somewhere. Wait till she get in. It's going to be some clucking and shucking going on.
That's it.
And you also say, shit, they didn't give Tamir Rice a chance to comply. They mowed that baby down for nothing. Yeah.
In less than 8 seconds?
Yeah, about 6. They said I think it was 6 seconds or so. The baby never even knew what hit him.
Right.
So what could he have done? He wasn't being disrespectful. He didn't even have a clue as to what was going on with him. So that's why I hate to hear people say, well, if we just comply, we know that is a bunk theory. It does not work. If a police is bloodthirsty and they're out to get you, they are going to get you.
Did you say police or did you say race soldier?
Race soldiers.
There you go.
Yeah, if they out to get you, they out to get you. So don't put the onus on black people to try to do all they can to stay alive. White people don't have to do all they can to stay
No,
alive.
it's their country.
Oh, y'all saw that video of the white dude busting out the house? What you gonna do? And he running that. They running from the dude.
No.
They running from the
No,
dude.
we're jumping in Popeye's drive-through to get our chicken sandwich.
Or getting busted in the head with blenders.
Right.
Because we mad at a Happy Meal at
Oh,
McDonald's, you know?
yeah.
And Charlie says, in many European countries, higher education is free or paid for by the local welfare.
Yes.
Higher education in Denmark is free for students from the EU and EEA, and Switzerland summarily. If, if you are participating in an exchange program, your studies in Denmark are free. You also do not pay for tuition if at the time of application have a permit, a residence permit, he said it in
ID card.
Yeah, ID card.
Yeah, but you also got to remember. I mean, and that's statistically factual. But you got to remember, they are looking out for the welfare of people that look like them. When you're America is one of the few countries with the demographics to where we are so mixed now that the white people see the writing on the wall. So that, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. Maybe long after we're dead it'll happen. But white supremacy doesn't better to other people. They better to themselves. That's why in South Africa,
white supremacy.
right? That's why in South Africa, 93% of the population is black, and yet they're all poor and living in Soweto, and 70% of the population have the wealth, and they're using black politicians to keep it that way.
Because they greasing their pockets.
Right.
They bought in.
Right. They bought in. I mean,
Yep. And Tay says the sad part is that they were looking for his brother.
Yeah.
The kid does for no reason.
Yep.
Dies for no
The kid
reason.
died for no
yes.
reason.
So, yeah, we need to stop putting the blame on black people to do all you can to stay alive. Nah. And Jonelle says police play
Yes.
judge, jury,
Yes.
execution.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. With compliance, black people have always been targets under compliance, beat and shot. We have to have our own community, black policing, not biased, evil, ill-minded police, mainly white officers killing black people and the sprinkle of others. Yeah, and that's a good point. So not to negate the fact that other people don't suffer from police brutality, but they don't like black people.
Yeah, they don't do it on the
It's
level
like
that
you
we
said,
did.
it's a sprinkle.
Mhm.
But like us, it's every day, all day. You hear about it. I mean, you see it on your timeline, and you're just like, I don't want to say you become numb to it, but it's just like,
Do you know what chaps my hide?
what chaps your hide, Donovan?
Fiddly sticks. Elizabeth Warren.
Is that what she
fiddlesticks.
says?
Yeah, she says
Okay.
that. Yeah, fiddlesticks. What chaps my hide is, like, I'll go into a store and they'll say, would you like your receipt? I said, yeah, I'm a black man. I want my receipt.
Okay, you ain't gonna accuse me of doing something
if
crazy.
I walk out of here, all hell's gonna break loose. And
Right.
next thing I'm dead.
Right.
And and then the person, the cashier, somebody of different race, would be like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. How can you say that?
Right. Because if I get pulled over at the door, you ain't gonna bounce for me.
Exactly. You know what the hell is going on in this country.
Right.
And yet you're gonna sit here and ask me, would I like my receipt?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, give me two in case
You know?
I drop one on the way to the door.
No, I always hit both. Email it that I had on the phone and whatever.
Right.
But what kills me is the ignorance of them saying like, there's nothing going on. They know
It's
what's
a
going on.
figment of your imagination.
Yeah. It's
Oh, you black people always thinking somebody's out to get ya.
But it's crazy because and the ones that go, yeah, that are kind of cool, they're like, yeah, you're right. I said, yeah, you got to think about that.
Right.
Especially if you have a black or mixed son or something like that.
I mean, and hell, and the crazy part about it is they know you bought all the shit because they done followed you around the
Yeah,
store.
that's what I'm saying.
Up until the time that you cashed out, but yet they still want to hassle you at the door.
At the door. But these people know this stuff is going on, and yet they do nothing to help the
Right.
situation or the legislation or push
Right.
the legislation. It's not.
But we want to vote for people who are going to further the agenda. Hey, Shelly said, sounds like a plan, but will they tax that? No, they won't
Yeah,
tax
no.
the money. He says the money is yours, regardless of.
Wait a minute. How are you going to pay for it?
It's a good question. He says that he wants to tax the tech industry who pays no taxes and reduce military spending, among other things, to pay for it. Hell, they find a way to pay for everything else. But to your point, no, the money is yours regardless of your work situation. So let's take a welfare for an example. You can't make 2 cents over the limit. because they'll end up, taking the money back or cutting you off. It's not like that. He says, regardless of what your work situation is or your financial situation is, the money is yours.
Yes.
You won't be penalized for getting the extra $1,000 to help you get ahead. It's a freedom
dividend.
Freedom dividend to help you get ahead. It's
Yes.
a dividend. It's yours. It's something you get back if you
For being
will.
a citizen.
Right.
But here's what I want you guys to remember this. And this is a stark warning. When black people's wealth go to absolute zero, if you guys don't find a solution to this, and the black wealth goes to absolute zero,
Mm-hmm.
you people better be ready for motherfuckers walking in your house,
Oh, I'm walking
taking
in
your
house.
shit, just breaking into your cars or whatever. So what? The Donovan Sadiq show, the Demetri K show, Don't Believe the Hype show. We're telling you right now, in 2019, we're giving you the warning now. You better come up with a solution now, because 13 years is just right around the corner.
Imagine, you know what people who do what they do when they're hungry and they're out of resources.
Right.
You look like food to them.
Exactly.
You look like a hamburger to me.
Exactly.
You know.
I have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
I'm out
nothing to
here-
lose. My
I'm out here in
babies
the
is
street.
crying. Their stomachs ain't had nothing in it for a while. Yeah, I don't have a problem kicking your dough in.
Right. I'm not that fine thing I used to be, so I can't trick any money. So now I got to just go ahead and start robbing and killing like everybody else.
Well, and also, you guys, if you follow the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Frederick Engel, they talk about that. So it's not necessarily to do with race. It's to do with capitalism. In that eventually the poor, which is the working class now, proletariat, is going to eat the rich.
Yes, 13% black wealth, black people, 13% of the population, 13% of this country is going to rise up because they have nothing left. It's either be on our knees and get shot in the head or fight and die.
And you guys, like, we are, a lot of times, and I'm going to get to you guys in comments, a lot of times we say stuff like, oh, man, I'm hungry. Oh, man, I'm starving. Are you really? I'm asking it because I'm not saying this is anybody's situation. I'm speaking for myself personally. Even at my lowest moment, I've never been hungry. I'm talking about hungry to where I haven't eaten in days, or anything. I've never been to that point. So a lot of times when I hear my little nieces and nephews talking about, I'm hungry, and I have to break it down to them, joking with them, but I'm wanting them, are you really hungry? And I asked them, I said, come on, let's go to this park up here, and let's talk to some of these homeless people who have not eaten. And I said, they're going to tell you what hunger is.
Exactly.
And so in less than 13 years, black people's wealth is going to be zero, and we are not, maybe some of us, but a lot of us are going to be at that point. So it's like, who don't we kicking in now?
And if you guys know anything about blackness, the first people we victimize
Is ourselves.
Is ourselves.
Right.
Roaching.
And Jimmy says people need more than stipends, quote unquote, to get ahead. People on assistance barely affording gas to get a minimum wage job have no chance to get over the hump or go to a school or invest. And so imagine if they had $1,000 extra in order to do that. Don't take my word for it. I mean, I'm going off of what Andrew Yang
Just
said.
look at the numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
Run the numbers.
Yeah, and he says he's a math guy. He does the numbers, and if it doesn't make sense mathematically, then he doesn't talk about it. But it just makes sense. And not even just Andrew Yang. How many of you guys follow Dr. Claude Anderson? Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that a lot. He says, and it's funny because I was watching a clip of his in 1995 or so, and he predicted everything we're going through right now by using numbers. And I just sat there with my mouth open like this dude hit every nail on the head. He said we are going to be almost extinct.
Yep.
And he says in the year, I think he said 2000 or sometime 2010 or 11, he says Hispanics are going to take over and black people are going to become a permanent underclass.
Yes.
Where are we at now? So if you don't believe somebody like Andrew Yang, look to people in our own community like Dr. Claude Anderson who's predicted it just by using the numbers.
Well, look at where we spend our wealth at. On
Right.
nothing.
Right.
Hair, nails, music, shoes.
Right. Right. And Tay says, did you see the video of the white woman bumping and grinding on the cop that was arresting her? They didn't whoop Katie's ass.
Wow. Of course not. Of course not.
I didn't see that, but can you imagine if that was Boom Quisha?
Hello.
I feared for my life. She was resisting arrest. I thought she was going to hump me to death.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the white cops that they're finding in the black communities are pimping out these black women and are having sex
raping them and
raping
all kind of
them and
stuff. Yeah,
like that.
right.
So
Yeah.
and still arresting them. Talking about, I ain't gonna take you in if you do this.
Jonelle, I know you say this a lot, but who is the us that says that we don't have no friends? We don't have no friends. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have no allies. No, we ain't even an ally to ourselves most
That's
of the time.
what
You
I'm
know?
saying. You don't see the Hispanic caucus talking about black issues. They
At
talk
all.
about their issues,
Right.
And illegal issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jonelle says, then we have to consider the value of these printed notes that we would be wise to unify a portion of our income as black people and invest in gold and silver,
Yeah.
land, natural resources, and the things that will give us self-empowerment and our own on all levels. No self-producing people need to seek a job outside of self, less than bringing the resources back to self. Absolutely.
I agree with you. But my baby gotta have them Jordans. My baby gotta have the new jerseys. My baby gotta have. That's what's gonna happen. But guess what? Even if a woman has that mentality, it helps the economy. Hopefully, we can create more jobs. But the thing is, we've got to stop telling our kids, go to college, you're gonna get a good job. Like I just told my nephew, it's okay to go to college and have a piece of paper. I've gone to college and have a piece of paper.
Oh, you got 11 pieces
Right.
of papers.
But I can work with my hands.
Right. Donovan, as I tell
Okay.
you guys all the time, has built this damn house by
Basically,
himself
tore it down
from
and
the
built it back
ground
up.
up.
Exactly.
Yes.
We
So
gotta-
he's got skills.
So we got to talk about working with our hands,
Right.
especially our young men. Work with your hands because
Right.
everybody has a degree, everybody's unemployed, but everybody that has a trade, they're working.
Right. And Jonelle says, applying to Tay, yes, too funny about Katie. Hey, you say, look, I'm locked and loaded. Try me, okay? Right. But you know what, Tay? Unfortunately, if we don't get our stuff together, it's going to come to a point where you're going to be sitting at the door like, can I help you with both of your barrels blazing?
No. Me and Tay gonna be with Mom and Pop over there in Paris. You know, they in their hotel room, we in our
we
hotel
just
room.
read the news.
Yes,
What's
let's
going on over there?
there again. That's where me and Tay gonna be with Mom and Pop.
And Jonelle says, better have food and all manner of supplies stocked up for the days of hunger and want. You know what? Jonelle, I know you're on the same page as my father, but my father, as long as I can remember, says store your water and your food, and I do that.
Yes.
I do that. Every time I go to the store, I get some canned goods, organic, obviously, of course, but I get some canned goods and, some dry goods and things like that, just in case it goes down.
Drop some knowledge about the water. Everybody gets the distilled. You should be getting the spring water.
Spring water.
Same amount of money, but it's better
spring water
minerals.
is better for you from what I understand. I don't like the taste of purified, but spring water is supposed to be more on the alkaline side, more health benefits and things like that.
So grab that.
Right. And then to your point about water, Mos Def has a song called New World Water, where he's basically saying, forget money, forget bank. We need a water tank because eventually we're going to come to a point, I'm paraphrasing the song, but he said we're going to come to a point where water is going to be a commodity.
It is.
But he wrote, this song came out in 1999, I think it was, 1999, on his Black on Both Sides album. And he talked about this, and now we're hearing about Flint and a whole bunch of other, hell, even
Baltimore.
even out here there's some water issues. We're hearing about,
Because we have
especially,
these old pipes
yes,
and stuff.
but where is it predominantly the problem? In black neighborhoods where water is an issue, and so we're fighting over it to say Jordans and all that other stuff, but hell, you can't even turn on the faucet and drink water. That ain't gonna kill you.
Now, here's the thing. We talk about how we're so advanced. We were just in South Africa. If you go down to Jamaica, you go to outside of this country, everybody has a water tank that they catch water that filters through the. It's a very simple system, and they all have it.
Because water is a commodity.
That is one thing
whether we know it or not.
everybody uses and drinks. And guess what? There's a stock on that, and I'm invested in that stock.
I mean, can you imagine 20 years ago people saying you're going to be paying for water? I mean, I'm not talking about the water you use in the house, but water.
We're going to be paying for air soon.
You ain't lying, And Jonelle said, and Jonelle says self-discipline will save you. Absolutely. We got to start practicing self-discipline. Charlie says in the 90s, they arrested blacks for crack drugs, and cared nothing because they were black. But when the police and lawmakers saw whites on opioids and drugs, they felt sorry for them because
we got to do federal programs.
They looked like them and saw their children in being addicted. Absolutely.
Well, remember when the white kids started listening to NWA? All hell broke loose.
And Two Live Crew,
Yeah,
Tipper Gore, the wife of Al Gore,
broke loose.
she's the reason why they have the parental guide sticker.
Yeah, guide sticker. Exactly.
I'll be damned if the good white people get to listen to this, this music.
Abhorrent music.
Right, So you're absolutely right. And then Jimmy says also trickle-up economy works. Absolutely, especially if something like the freedom dividend or the universal basic income that Andrew Yang talks about. Obviously, most people aren't going to save it. They're going to put it back into the economy. But Black people got that $1,000 and we put it back into our own economy.
Mhm.
That'll make a big difference, but we got to work on that. Stop making everybody else richer. They're not helping us. They're not giving it back to us at all. And then Jonelle says we need more of us to do as we in the Nation of Islam is doing, especially the black church. Can you imagine the black church buying farmland, opening up businesses, and investing in youth and teaching the youth to be self-productive, business-minded, and morally self-disciplined? Can you imagine how empowered we would be? Yeah, if we started just with the children alone. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they was like, well, 6 and 7 is too young to be talking to the kids about that kind of stuff. I said, if you're waiting till 6 and 7 to talk to your kids about basic necessities, you're waiting too late. We got to start educating our children from the cradle. Not wait until I think they're old enough to understand. Hell, if they can walk around in Jordans at the age of 2 months, then you need to be having a financial conversation with them.
When you give the kid a $800 cell phone and they're playing games and doing YouTube, come on now. Come on.
I don't even have an $800 cell phone. I would never buy my child no $800 cell phone. For what? You got $800 worth of income coming up in here?
Mm-hmm.
Are you, got a YouTube channel? You selling something on eBay with this? I mean, what are you doing?
Hello.
And Jonelle says there's a brother who made a machine that makes water out of the atmosphere, which would be a great investment.
Right.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that too. Absolutely. And do you know, like especially in the Middle East, they have these saltine plants that convert salt water into fresh water, which is a very simple process now, but back 10, 15 years ago, it was something kind of new. But
Right.
It's getting better and better all the time. So why are we having problems with these waters when they can upgrade these systems?
We want to kill your black ass.
Exactly.
That's what that is.
Exactly.
It's all part of the eugenics. And, in Flint, it was a black man who gave the okay to change the water system into the one that's killing people. It was a black man who made that decision, just so y'all know. And then Shelley says, do you have the stock symbol of the water filtration system by chance?
The stocks of the water filtration system?
I think she was talking about when I was referencing Most Def when he was saying, save water, stock up on water because water is going to be a commodity. I don't actually have that symbol or if there is one, but basically store your water because it's going to come a point to where good water, I mean, a lot of people are having to pay for that now. At Flint, they was giving them bottled water, but then now that they stopped it or they rationed it off or something. Will Smith's son, which I love, regardless of what people say about him, he started a water company called Just Water, and he's giving them water for free. He's giving black people water for free out of his water company called Just Water. So whenever I see Just Water, I buy me some Just Water. Not that expensive. It's $1. It comes in a box carton, whatever. If I'm out, I see his product, I'll buy it. Because I know what that money is going toward helping people, black people specifically. And Jonelle says they teach 6 and 7 years old how to fly and Google it. No, absolutely. They, but it's us who want to, they too young to learn about that kind of stuff. But they know how to have a hot girl summer and all that at 6 and 7 years old, but we won't teach them stuff they need.
Right. For those that are interested, there's a stock that's called Water the World.
Water the World.
And its stock thing is PHO, so PHO.
How much
is
is it going for?
the ticker. And that goes for $34 a stock.
Oh, I need to buy some.
$34 a stock.
Okay.
And the overview, it's all the water companies, Ecolab, the Naher Waters.
Ecolab is huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
All kinds of Roper Technology, all kinds of them.
So it's called again what? Water of the World?
Water of the World.
Water of the World, Shelly. Water of the World. Look for that.
PHO.
PHO is a ticker symbol. So I'm going to go on there and get some of that as well. And then Pamela says, I hope you have a good week. I need to leave and watch the World Series in my room. All right, Pamela, you have a great week as well. And so I actually don't have anything else, but, I just want to leave you guys with that. Let's, not get weary and well doing, and let's do our best, especially to educate ourselves in this upcoming election. A lot of people say that it's the job of black people to get rid of Trump. It's not our job to get rid of Trump. It's our job to make sure we vote for somebody who is actually going to help us as black people. Not talking about anybody else's agenda. We're talking about black people's agenda, or at least the person who's going to help us get closer to where we need to go. As somebody most ignorantly said last week, we sold our souls for $1,000. It's bigger than $1,000. It's if we collectively get ourselves together and stop, as Donovan would say, roaching off of each other and, trying to tear us down at every angle, that $1,000 collectively can help us all. It's a bigger picture. It's bigger than $1,000, because $1,000 Yeah, to help us individually, but after a while, like Donovan said, it won't help us close the wealth gap unless we start putting those funds to something that is beneficial to us, whether it's black businesses or, saving the money or whatever the case is. So, I just think we need to be a little bit more wise with who we're going to vote for. Yeah, you got Joe Biden. And it's a shame that Joe Biden just automatically has our vote.
Yeah.
Considering all the things that he's done to hurt black people.
Well, the thing is, like I said, the Kamala thing didn't work out, so she got kicked out at the gate. And then the Elizabeth Warren thing is kind of iffy because they're kind of nervous with Elizabeth Warren because she's against the banks.
Right.
So they're falling back to they're 3 steps ahead of us.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, so, we just need to be wise is all I'm saying. So, I don't see any more of you guys' comments, so if I do, I'll address them as we leave here. As always, thank you to Donovan for everything that you do, and thank you, Marcus, for everything that you do. It is much appreciated. And obviously to you guys on Facebook, the audience who helped have this conversation with us. We could not do this without you. To YouTube, for those of you guys who will watch this later and you comment. And I know the podcast is gone already, but to the podcast, we thank you for helping us do this every week. Next week, I won't be here because I'll be on a little hiatus.
Oh! Yes, go get your recharge, girl. Go get your recharge.
I'll be on a little hiatus for a couple days, but I will be right back.
Come on, Beth.
And so, thank you so much. And then let me get to these rest of these comments. And Shelly says, great conversation, always informative. Have a great week, y'all. You do the same. Jonelle says, we need the well-doers. If we focus on the iniquity and iniquity and embrace the negatives, we will fail to see God in the mirror. Blessed are the doers of good to self and the others. Salute to you both, Queen and Donovan. Salute to you as well. And Arson says, you guys have a great week. You guys have a great week, too. We will see you later. Peace.